So it's been a while since we've had a MetaZoo Hour, but we had one on January 15th, and there's a few interesting tidbits about towers, so let's talk about it. Kicking us off this week, we have Richie Light asking 7C's release event equals yacht party, and Mike says, actually, yes. And that makes sense for 7C's being a Seas-related set. It's going to be incredibly interesting if it does turn out to be a yacht party, because you can't really fit all that many people on a yacht unless they get a ginormous one. And yes, I know ginormous isn't a word, but it's fine. So we'll find out more on that in about a year's time. That is the spring set for 2024. Pete Dorr asks, any plans for MetaZoo action figures? And Mike says, yes, at our next eBay collab. And that's really interesting because we don't really know much about our next eBay collab. We know it should be soon. It could be with Native. And we also know that the Funko collab is going to happen with eBay sometime this year as well. Poyestro asked, will Ultima Haha be printed outside with the fan art blisters? And Mike says, no, that's a very exclusive card to the fan art blisters. It's one of the top 4 to get in the set. With the upcoming water tower, it's incredibly powerful and people are looking to obtain it to participate in the water tower. Puppy asks, can I choose the design for the Bear Walker board? When is it up for sale? Mike says, no, it will be blind. So this is our first confirmation that Bear Walker will be a blind box release. You won't get to choose your board. Jazzy Bean asks, will MetaZoo be at the Houston Collecticon in November? Mike says, yes. Teflo asks, will MetaZoo be at the Collecticon in February in Orlando? And Mike says, yes as well. Until now, we only knew about 2 Collecticon events, Kansas City and Long Beach, which will be tower event locations, but this is confirmation that they will be at other Collecticons. To follow on from that, Big Boy MetaJoe asks, will there be more Cumberland Dragon promos for Collecticon? And Andy actually replied to this one saying, different theme this year. So this could mean that there's going to be a promo for every Collecticon with an evolving beastie from chibi to adult form for the 2024 Collecticon season. Tormentic Year of the Rabbit asks, anything you think content creators aren't covering enough? Anything you'd like to see more content about? And Mike said the IP, which is interesting because that is basically exclusively what Tormentic is covering, the lore and cryptid theories, and just trying to figure out what this is all about. There are a few other channels I've seen, not too many, that do cover the IP as well. And I know for me, I touch on it lightly for anything that's news related, but I will generally pass it off to Tormentic to do the heavy lifting there. Andy didn't make it on time to the MetaZoo Hour, but Tormentic did follow up with Andy later after the MetaZoo Hour ended with the same question. And Andy replied with, I think content creators interviewing other content creators would unironically be pretty enlightening. An insight of those that provide the insights by those that provide the insights. That's very MetaZoo. So that's very interesting. And this being a news channel, I'd like to get ideas from you guys who you would like to see interviewed on this channel. So in the comments below, let me know who you would like to see interviewed. That's a content creator. 3D Vegas asks, will there be another Dim Mac shirt collab this year? Mike said no, but maybe a Letterman jacket. So that's interesting. We won't see Dim Mac t-shirts, but we could see a premium jacket being made for MetaZoo. Loving Kitty 05 asked, Mike, any updates on the MetaZoo Funko Pops? And if no, any guesstimate on what month? Mike replied with New York Comic Con, which is really interesting. I thought this was going to be a lot sooner than New York Comic Con, but that does give us a relative date of mid-October that we'll be seeing the Funkos finally arriving for MetaZoo. LetLive994 asks, how many fusion auras will there be? And Mike says, Earth times insert aura here, so 1 for every aura type, probably except for Earth. We already have dual Earth. So that means in Native, we will see 9 different Earth fusion auras. Jack Penman asks, will there be 2 different fusion auras or a reprint? Mike says new art. And then Mike followed up with, so there will only ever be 2 arts per fusion aura type. Justin Sane asks, will the fusion auras be non-hollow or hollow variants? Mike says just hollow, and for example, the next time you would see Earth and Water fusion aura would be in the water-based set. So these won't show up too often. With Native, we're going to see Earth and Water. With a water-based set, most likely 7Cs, we're going to see Water and Earth, and that'll be it for the Earth-Water fusion auras. Justin Sane also asked, when you said the fusion auras will be rare, how rare? Prism and Possession aura rare? And Mike confirmed that yes, they will be as rare as the Prism aura and the Possession aura. Now I'm curious if that's going to be collectively as rare or each individual fusion aura is going to be as rare. And if so, that means that we're going to be pulling fusion auras more often, but maybe not the one you want as often. Akone asks, dates on the gala so we can plan travel. Mike says, working on those now, looking to secure them this week. So if you're a influencer, a VIP, a full set token holder, and you're waiting for that, we should be getting that information soon. MetaPhantom asks, when's the next GamerSupps MetaZoo collab? Bigfoot Juice was bussin'. Mike responded with, we won't be working with G-Supps anymore, and ended on good terms. We're working with other energy drink collaborations. And this isn't the first time that that's been said. This is the first time it's been somewhat official, but yes, that's true. We're not gonna see UFO Blast or Seance Ectoplasm, but we possibly will get something with Red Bull or Monster or another energy drink. Slobbery Dust asks, will MetaZoo ever collaborate with a gaming chair company like Secret Lab to drop some sick gaming chairs? Mike says yes. From companies like Secret Labs, we've seen some very interesting designs with other companies such as Overwatch. Lion Metaphor asks, will MetaZoo have well-known artist collabs that will diverge into different art styles? Mike says yes. So it's really interesting to see a confirmation of that. We're going to see art styles beyond the watercolor art with possibly new artists. Star of the North asks, is MetaZoo hot sauce and beer still a thing? Mike says yes. I'm really excited for that because I'm really into hot sauces, different flavors of hot sauces. So it's going to be really interesting to me when we can get some chupacabra chili sauce, some picante piazza sauce, some hodag habanero. Hams by Yams asked, that MetaZoo book going to be hardcover with the art from the back of the cards? Mike says there will be 1,000 signed hardcover with a special box of cards, all numbered and signed by me personally, leatherbound with more lore expansion in the margins. Savage716 followed up with, how do we get these? Will they be for sale in the marketplace? Possible NFT drop? And Mike confirmed that the leatherbound books will be direct to consumer on the marketplace, so that's going to be a madhouse, but the normal books will go through the normal book distributors. In Case Comics asks, when will Native be available for pre-order? Mike said not until March. Use your trusted partners for the best pre-order options. Pre-orders typically go up about 3 weeks before the release, so I would expect the second week of March to be the pre-order window for Native. And while we're on the subject, this channel is sponsored by Immortal Workshop, one of the MetaZoo partners, so if you are so inclined, definitely pre-order through Immortal Workshop. There's an affiliate link in the description below that gives a kickback to this channel if you do so. Lindy Games asks, any future rewards for NFT token holders on the roadmap? Mike says yes, of course. We didn't see anything NFT specific on the roadmap, but there definitely is plans to include that. Metarico asks, are you still planning to do code cards and packs for the online TCG client, and will it be running on the blockchain? Mike says yes, we'll officially start with War. The online TCG client will be releasing at the same time as War, so it makes sense that the code cards will be part of the War release. New Year's New Rat Queen asks, MetaZoo X Roblox or VR? And Mike says AR would be a cool tie-in with our online client. It could be really cool to see some Yu-Gi-Oh style AR, you play your card, the monster shows up in front of you kind of gameplay, so I hope that actually is a thing. Richie Light asks, how are the PFP boxes coming along? Mike says almost done printing. That's really good news. If they're almost done printing, that means they're probably going to be shipping out relatively soon in the grand scheme. I wouldn't expect them maybe this month or next month, but maybe early March, early April. Now, when Andy jumped in the chat, we were talking about Australia and events in Australia, which just aren't viable at this time, but he did say, I'm making the call. After Europe, the next Rat King style promo will be for NSW. He also followed on from that to say, also for those that aren't from Australia, NSW is the state in Australia that Sydney is in, and then followed up with that with TLDR Rat King promo in Australia. So this is great news for those of you in Australia. It means you're getting something. I know that a lot of you have wanted some kind of tournament or tower or something in Australia. The logistics around getting everybody there, getting all of the equipment there, all of the necessary items to hold a tower event or a tournament or whatnot just isn't in the cards this year by what they said. An exclusive promo beyond the ambassador promos is always a good thing. Cryptic Card Dungeon asks, when will we expect Seance binders? Mike said later this year with the native binders, so I'd imagine that we're going to be seeing those sometime in April, both the Seance and native binders shipping together. I imagine that they are being done in bulk at the same time. Dat Hat had asked, are there any cards in Cryptid Nation, Nightfall, or Wilderness that have not been pulled besides the silver ticket? Mike says yes. It's long been my thought that there's an Indrid Cold hiding in Cryptid Nation, maybe with the same art that's in the samples. Awful Waffles asks, will there be any MetaZoo shoes in the future? Mike says yes, but with Nike, Adidas, etc. We've seen a partnership with Kickstradamus before, which took Nike shoes and then painted on top of them, but this could be something more official with an official brand. P-Weezo asks, any surprising voice actors lined up for the animated shorts or series? And Mike says, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. And I'm curious to know if that means that the casting has already happened, and if it did, I really hope that it's Tormentic, because that's the only way I'm going to be pleasantly surprised. Hashtag Tormentic for voice actor. MetaZoo Enthusiast asked, When can we expect snowboards, and are there multiple designs? Mike had said, when we collab with Burton. Andy had also followed up to say, you guys remember those snowboards? More on those soon, and released a picture of a Burton logo. I expect that we're not going to see snowboards until closer to the end of fall, given the timeline that we currently have, and it doesn't really make sense to release them in summer. But if they're working with Burton, that's a huge deal. And the Winter Olympic Games is in 2026, so we have a few years to possibly get some MetaZoo boards out there, maybe try to get them used in the Olympics. Lindy Games asks, when will we know anything about streamer kits and how to qualify? Mike says everyone can qualify. They will be open to purchase for anyone, since anyone can be a streamer, and we want to encourage this. Knowing that, I doubt this is going to be like the LGS kits where you have to have a certain qualification to purchase them, and they became free for LGSs. But I would expect them to have everything you need to stream, such as stands, maybe specialized sleeves, and things of that nature. Frozen Explosion 64 asks, when are the Target Tarot packs expected? And Mike says next month. So we're expecting the Seance Target blisters to be released in February, so that's the first time we're getting a timeline on that. Nick C. Kirk asks, any thoughts on having tournaments the days before or after conventions so we can enjoy both? Mike says no. And I have to say I agree with Mike here, because the purpose of holding the tournaments at these conventions is for people at the convention to see the turnout, to see that people are excited to play MetaZoo. By having them as separate events, you don't get that exposure at a convention. This is also why we're doing Caster's Cup at New York City Comic-Con this year as well, during the Comic-Con. Kofstoff7GOX asks, in a situation where the tower gets filled up and there are no shows, they'll be dropped, but what about people who are not signed up? And Mike said, we can have a side deck of players on standby. It's up to them to show up if they would like to risk not being able to participate. I think there will be more than enough extra players at towers that if something should go wrong and people drop out, that somebody can jump right in. I know that with the Caster's Corner team, there will be a couple of our players who may not qualify that are still gonna go. Costuff7GOX again asks, will side decking be a thing for towers? Mike says yes. There was speculation that due to the complexity of checking the deck for side decking, that side decks might not be allowed for towers, but that is not the case. You just need to maintain your 60% water when you're building your spellbook for the round. New Year New Top Cuts asks, will there be active Terra at the towers? Mike says yes. This was my speculation as well. We don't know which ones are going to be active, but my guess is that all of the water-based Terras will be active at the Water Tower. Flowbot asks, any chance on number of players being increased for Water Tower? Mike says no, so the player cap is still going to be 128 for the Water Tower. It's unclear if that means every tower is going to be 128 or if it's going to depend on the venue or the event in the future. Yams by Yams again asks, are the towers going to be fluid locations or will they be set locations where future MetaZoo stores will be built? Mike says fluid for now. I do expect that some of the locations we have now are going to be the end locations for the towers. The ones that are at festivals just make sense to be associated with those festivals. But there are definitely some, like the ones at the Collecticons, that don't make sense. Like with all plans, nothing's set in stone right now, so I'm excited to see where this leads to in the future for towers. Christmas Peppermint Jack Frosty asks, why not a Frost Tower? Mike says next year. Metakai follows up with, for the missing Aura type towers, will they have a place this year? Or is it joining in 2024? Mike says 2024, so this is our confirmation that the missing tower auras are not gonna just pop up and be a surprise. They are not slated for this year, and we'll see them next year in 2024. Bendy2006 asks, will there be a way to incorporate TTS tournaments into qualifying for in-person tournaments to help people that aren't able to get to their LGS, or qualify in LGS if they don't hold MetaZoo events? Mike says no, but our online client is expected to release for War, and we expect to have a digital tower there. So that's really interesting. This is the first time that I'm hearing that the online client will be considered a tower event location. And it'll be really interesting to see what the tower will be there. Some speculate that it will be the neutral tower. We did see a symbol for a rainbow tower when it was first announced. My guess is that's what it's going to be, is a more bring your constructed deck, build whatever you want kind of digital tower. New Year's New Rat Queen asked, will any form of native be at the Frogman Festival? Frogman Festival takes place exactly 1 month before native releases. And Mike says, yes, spoilers. And this is exactly what I had speculated with native spoilers, that it's the right timeline for native spoiler packs to be at the Water Tower. So if you're going to the Water Tower, be ready for those. And I saved this one for last because it's very special to me. Tormented Year of the Rabbit asks, will you recognize Cryptid Nation News as an influencer and content creator? My man has passed his year mark for his channel and produces some of the best MetaZoo news content out there. He has been such a huge help, not just for me, but the MetaZoo community as a whole. Love him, love you all, and I love MetaZoo, but I love lore the most. And Mike had said, sure, let's get him a promo. So I'd like to thank Tormentic for going out on a limb, for posting that during a MetaZoo Hour, it means a ton to me. Obviously, I'm not doing this to get any kind of special recognition or promos or whatnot from MetaZoo. I do this because I love the community, I love the game. I'm not sure exactly what they're gonna send, if it's gonna be the influencer, the content creator, or both, but we're gonna find out together when those arrive. So again, Termentic, thank you so much for going out on a limb. Mike, Andy, everyone at MetaZoo, thank you. Well, that's everything we had to cover for this MetaZoo Hour. If you didn't catch this week's weekly update where we talk about Bear Walker, some other tower updates, and HeroQuest 2.0 shipping, you can catch that right over there, and I'll catch you in the next one.